Well, that was an abysmal performance from the Toronto Blue Jays as they lose 8-3 to the Tampa Bay Rays down at Tropicana Field. A historically terrible place for the Toronto Blue Jays to play. However, the Tampa Bay Rays are a pretty damn good team this year. They're 32-19, and with the loss today, the Blue Jays fall to 21-33. Starting pitcher today was Aaron Sanchez, and he left the game after 3 innings with the fingernail flipping problem. Now we're hearing that it's the least worrisome out of the last 3 injuries he's had this year, or the least, I say injuries, but issues I guess is the word to use. So he probably won't miss a start. He probably won't go on the IL, but this is starting to get repetitive. These short starts because of these little blister fingernail problems. Now after he left the game, the Blue Jays it was actually a 1-0 ball game. The Jays didn't have any hits up to this point because they had a tough time again today with the bats. It's weird, guys. They had 4 runs on 4 hits there a couple days ago. They have 17 hits and 10 runs yesterday. And today they get, 3 runs on 4 hits today. That right there is the definition of a very young team, a very inexperienced ball club. Really, that's what it is. Now, after Aaron Sanchez leaves the game, I mean, he did give up 6 hits over those 3 innings, but I think he did pitch through it a little bit, so you could arguably say a few of those hits probably get him up, probably because of the issue at hand. But nonetheless, he went 3 innings and gave up 1 run. Not terrible, but he does pick up the loss in the game, which kind of sucks for Aaron. But Jacob Waguespack. Now, you guys remember that name? We acquired him last year from the Philadelphia Phillies and in exchange for Aaron Loop. And thank God they traded Loop, and they got a 25. Well, I think was he 24 at the time? He's 25 now, right-handed pitcher. And again, he didn't have any remarkable numbers there in AAA last year when he came over to Buffalo. He didn't put up many remarkable numbers this year or last year, for that matter. But he gets the call up because the Jays need some length. Gaviglio's had a tough time. Pannone hasn't been good. They just really haven't had any type of length out of the bullpen. So with Aaron Sanchez going down, I gotta say, his first outing in the big leagues was rough. He gave up a leadoff double, struck out the next 2 guys, but then he gave up another double to make it a 2-0 game. Then Ji-Man Choi hits a single to center field. Or was it center field? Anyways, he hits it to one of the... I think it was the left field, actually. Let me try and find that here down in the 4th inning. Bottom 4. Where is it here? There it is. Left field. Tommy Pham came in to score to make it a 3-0 ball game. The throw comes in from left field. He's safe at the plate. Choi goes to second. Luke Maile grabs it and rifles it right into center field. Problem, Jonathan Davis ain't there to back it up. So it goes all the way into center field, way out there. And the big fella, Ji-Man Choi, comes all the way around to score to make it 4-0. Really? Horrendous play by Luke Maile. A horrendous toss. I don't know where Jonathan Davis is, but then again, he's not expecting that type of throw, but you have to try and back up the second baseman because a throw could be going there, because what else is he going to do? What else is Jonathan Davis going to do on that play? A lot of people say, well, you're going to blame Luke Maile because it's a bad throw. Yes, it was a horrendous throw. But that run would not have scored if there was a guy back in that play up. He might have not even gone to third base on the play if there was a guy back in that play up. Because, yes, he moves over to the left side of the field. I don't know if they were playing him in the pull or shift or whatnot. But he was way on the left side. I'm trying to think of why he was there, other than the ball being hit there. Now, Gurriel Clayton, he was the guy who was going to get it. There was no doubt in that. And the throw goes home. Davis had nothing to do with that. So if you're an outfielder, what's the only possible play that can happen after that? A guy tries to stretch that into a double or head to second, and the ball goes wide. That's exactly what happened. Now, I don't know if Davis was picking his nose or what the heck he was doing, but he's way away from the play, and Ji-Man Choi comes in to score. Ideally, an inside-the-park flipping home run, but it's more or less a single, and obviously the fielder's choice, even though they didn't get it out of the plate. And then he kind of on errors, he got home. Sloppy, basically. Now, I'm not going to fully blame Jonathan Davis, because really, that's not a play that you think of as an outfielder. You don't think, what if this happens here? I got to be ready for that. You don't think that. For Luke Maile, though, that's a bad throw. That is a bad throw. So the Jays are down 4-0, but then we go to the, I think it was the top of the 7th inning, or top of the 7th inning, with Freddie Galvis on base and 2 away. Jonathan Davis at the dish gets a 2-1, was it a fastball right at the top of the zone, and he gets barrel the ball and hits it out of the ballpark for his first home run of his big league career. Attaboy, Davis. You know, as much as I gave him garbage a little bit, not too long ago here in the video, but you know what? Young players have that happen to them. And again, I'm not going to fully blame him. Do I question why he was that far over? Maybe a little bit, but again, it's really hard to blame that guy for the play. There was the toss that was horrendous. And if it was somewhat close to the base, it would have been directly into straightaway center field, but it was more or less off to the second base side. So Davis on the left field side has to come all the way across. So it's tough play on either end. But nonetheless, he hits the 2-run shot to cut that lead in half, making it a 4-2 ball game. We're like, yeah, attaboy, Davis, way to get it going, bud. But then we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Jays get absolutely torched up here. Really, that's just what happens here. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. I think it was Ross Cup was on the mound. Gives him an infield single to Kevin Kiermaier. Then Travis d'Arnaud, former Blue Jay, traded to the Mets in the R.A. Dickey trade. He double center field, Kiermaier to third. Then Gaviglio comes into pitch. Ready for this? He gives a double to Robertson. Scores 2. Then Austin Meadows. 2-run shot. Sam Gaviglio, guys, had an amazing start to this year, but the last 3 outings have not only been bad for Sam Gaviglio, they've been downright awful. I mean, let's go back to these outings from this guy. I mean, not to beat around the bush, but he was terrible. He had a crazy good scoreless innings and whatnot. Listen to this. He pitched 2 innings against the Red Sox, gave up 4 hits, 2 runs, both were earned. He pitched 2/3 of an inning in that 19-4 loss against the San Diego Padres. He gave up 2/3 of an inning. 6 hits, 5 runs, all 5 were earned. He gave up 3 home runs, and that was bad. Today, he threw an inning, gave up 3 hits, 2 runs, gave up another home run. He has not been good at all. That ERA down, it was at 1-something. What is it up to now? 4. He was terrible. And all those runs lead up to an 8 spot. And that 4-2 game, it ended up being an 8-2 game. I think in the 9th inning, somebody hit a home run. I think it was Freddie Galvis hit a solo shot. His 8th home run of the year down the left field line. Fastball down the middle at 89 miles an hour. Usually you're going to crush that, and he did down the line for his 8th home run of the year, cutting it to 8-3. But that's it because you're down by a lot. So what are the positives to take from a game like this? Well, Jonathan Davis getting his first home run in the big leagues. It's obviously good to see. We just saw Biggio do it in the last game. Way to see Jonathan Davis do it today. But again, not much offense. 1 for 3 for Freddie Galvis, obviously with the home run. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. was 1 for 3, and he walked once. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. walked once. It was 0 for 3 in the ballgame. However, I think it was his last at bat. It was an absolute line shot right at Kevin Kiermaier. It happens, yes. And Jonathan Davis 1 for 4. Biggio was 0 for 3, but he walked once. And Luke Maile was 1 for 3. Really not no real offense for the Toronto Blue Jays. Now in that was it the 4th inning where Waguespack had the terrible inning where he gave up 3 hits and gave up the 3 runs and was really not that good. However, he did strike out the side that inning. And over the next 3 innings, he didn't give up a hit, walked 1 batter, and struck out 4. Look, in your first inning in the big leagues against a damn good team, it ain't easy. And to see him get through the first and not do very well, but him to come out in the 2nd inning, and the 3rd inning, and his 4th inning, and just look clean and just look smooth. It's good to see from the youngster, the 25-year-old right-hander. Now, again, is he going to be like this on a consistent basis? Well, we're going to have to wait and learn. This kid's young. It's his first big league appearance. Again, rough first inning. Hit 7 strikeouts over 4 innings. Now, people love looking at ERAs and all that stuff. Well, he did have 2 earned runs over those 4 innings. Obviously, the error by Maley was not charged to him. And his ERA is 4.50. Not great, but again, you take away that 1 inning, and he was dynamite over 3. Gotta take positives out of losses, guys. You just have to. I mean, really. There's not much with this team. The Jays are now 11 games under 500. They are, where I'm going to go with the standings here, they're 4th last in the American League. Baltimore's terrible. Kansas City's are almost as bad. And the Detroit Tigers have 19 wins as well. So there's that. There's the bottom 4 of the American League. As for the entire big leagues, though, the Jays would be second last in the National League. Behind the Miami Marlins for dead last. So if you want to look at draft and you want to look at all that kind of stuff, because people love looking at that kind of stuff, the Jays would have, the 5th overall selection or 6th? They would have the 5th overall selection. That's great. Ideally, that 5th overall selection would be next year, because that's how the MLB draft works. It happens mid-season, which is quite weird. But Jays fans, look, this year is not about wins and losses. It's really not. And anybody getting angry about this team losing, clearly you had some sort of expectation this season. And that right there is a recipe for a disaster. If you looked at the roster, if you looked at the moves this team made throughout the offseason, and you expected them to be good, I'm not sure how much baseball you watch. Signing a guy like Freddie Galvis to a 1-year contract. Signing Clayton Richard to a 1-year contract. Signing, Matt Shoemaker, who ends up being injured, which really hurt the Jays this year. 1-year deal. You're seeing all these 1-year deals. You know why? You're getting all these veteran guys. You're getting a guy like Freddie Galvis. You're getting a guy like Clayton Richard. You're getting a guy like Matt Shoemaker at the time. To sign them, and if they have a great year, you trade them. What happened last season? You signed John Axford, you trade him for Corey Copping at the deadline. Sung Won Oh, same thing. Turn into 2 prospects, Forrest Wall and Chad Spanberger. You eventually traded Jay Happ in the final year of his contract. You get Brandon Drury, you get Billy McKinney, and I think that was it from the deal, if I'm not mistaken. But again, you get these 1-year contracts. If Freddie Galvis can continue to hit 260, 270 for this team throughout the rest of the year, would not surprise me if he's moved at the deadline, because he's a guy that's a highly touted player at a very small contract and a guy that can help a playoff team. If Clayton Richard puts a good year together, he had a really good first start with the team. If he can have a good season, which I don't really expect him to, but if he does, you move him for something. That's what this team's going to be all about this year, guys, all right? So, the younger guys, yes, enjoy it. And ideally, if you're thinking about the good things about the older guys, it's more or less trade value, I guess. For the Toronto Blue Jays, guys, like I said, this is not going to be a good year, wins and loss-wise. You just focus on the young players. So what did Vladdy do today? He was 0 for 3 with a walk. Not great. Bijou, 0 for 3 with a walk. Gurriel, he was 1 for 3. Attaboy, had a walk as well. Good job. And Waguespack, after that first rough inning that he had, through 3 shutout innings, 3 hitless innings. After that, positives. That's really all we can do right now. If you're going to sit here and wait for wins and wins and wins and wins and wins to pile up, it's not going to happen. Now, I mentioned a guy down in the minor leagues. We'll get to him in a second here. And let's start with the Buffalo Bisons, because they played, just them and the Fisher Cats played today. Well, the Lansing Lugnuts played today, but they didn't do whole. They had nothing really to talk about down there, so we'll just skip them and go to the Buffalo Bisons, where Anthony Alford gets another hit today. He was 1 for 4 in the game today. His average up to 219. He's slowly getting there, guys. I'm trying to have faith in this guy. We know he has speed. You can't teach speed. So for this guy, I want him to develop. We all want to see this guy develop, and it's just taking time. Tasker Hernandez was 1 for 3 in the game. Richard Urania 1 for 4. And on the mound, never mind. We're not going to talk about any of the guys on the mound. Let's go to the fun stuff, though. Down in AA New Hampshire. Is the game over right now? It is. It just finished not too long ago. The New Hampshire Fisher Cats won 9-2 over Hartford, the Yard Goats. What a name. And Forrest Wall, the guy I just mentioned, we acquired in the Sung Won Oh trade, him and Chad Spanberger. Spanberger did not play today. Forrest Wall had a day. He was 4 for 5, had 4 RBIs, scored 3 runs. He had a big night. Afternoon. And he's hitting 282. I think he's, 22 or 23 years old? An outfielder? Could he be a guy that's going to be getting a good look here next season for the Toronto Blue Jays? Would not surprise me. Now, we do have Randall Grichuk that's going to be there, but that whole left field and center field situation is really all over the place. So Forrest Wall, what did he play today? He played left field. Keep an eye on him, guys. And pitching-wise, Hector Perez. Guys, remember him from the Roberto Osuna trade to the Seattle Mariners? Houston Astros. We got Ken Giles, pretty good. David Paulino hasn't been very good in AAA, and I think he's injured now as well. But you got Hector Perez, probably the big part of that trade. The 22-year-old right-handed pitcher. I think he may be 23 now, but he went 5 2/3. He had 6 hits, walked a couple batters, struck out 4, and his ERA not too long ago was like 8-something. He was having a rough start to his year. It's now down to 5.44. Again, still not glamorous, still not beautiful to see, but process. It really because numbers, you don't look at numbers in April. You look at numbers in October and September. You look at those numbers. And for him, he had a great start today. Picked up his 4th win on the year. He's now 4-2. Positives, Jays fans. Look, you got to look at the minor leagues. After a loss like this, you look at any positives in the big leagues, we did that. And anything in the minor leagues, we did that. To keep us sane, that's all we can do. I mean, we were only, we're not even a third way through the season. I think we're about a third way through the season. But we're not even 60 games in. We still have over 100 games to play. So the only way to keep us sane is to do this. All right, so you know what, guys? That is going to do it for this one. You guys enjoyed this video, and you guys did not enjoy the ball game today. Smack that like button to appreciate that. Also, guys, comment down below. Hit the subscribe button if you guys have not already. Comment down below your thoughts on Jacob Waguespack. What were your initial thoughts on him? Well, I mean, not initial thoughts in the first inning, but over the 4 innings that he did pitch, what were your thoughts on him? He throws 94. He's got to look at like a tight slider kind of thing. It was a really nice looking thing. He got 7 strikeouts with it or something like that. I mean, it was a great job. 94 miles an hour and a tight off speed. Maybe. But what were your thoughts on him throughout his outing? I want to hear your thoughts on Gurriel, your thoughts on Vladdy, Biggio in the minor leagues. What are your thoughts on Forrest Wall and Hector Perez, the guys we've talked about? Also, your thoughts on Anthony Alford coming up, possibly, eventually. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on all that crazy stuff. And Evan and I will talk to you guys podcast edition. It's probably going to be on Wednesday afternoon. Links are in the description for the podcast channel and for the podcast itself on iTunes. Twitter is also down below, guys. Follow up, send me a DM, do all that great stuff. And check out my main man Mo Buckets on Twitter. Blue Jays Wave on Instagram, guys. He's a great guy. He posts awesome content. I mean, he's posted all the highlights when there is some for the Toronto Blue Jays, but he posts all the post-game stuff as well for the Blue Jays. Go check him out, guys. Blue Jays Wave on Instagram. Great guy. We hope to have him on the podcast by the end of the month and kind of in July and throughout the summer. It's going to be a lot of fun there talking to him, Blue Jays-wise, to break down everything towards this team. All right? And where is it here? Twitter is also down below. Follow up, send me a DM, do all that great stuff. You guys know the spiel. You guys know how it is. And I will talk to you guys Raptors edition in the finals preview on Wednesday, at some point on Wednesday. All right, the links are in the description. I don't know why I said that. We'll talk to you guys in the finals preview. Guys, I'm all over the place right now, just like the Toronto Blue Jays were defensively today. We'll talk to you guys on Wednesday for the finals preview for the Toronto Raptors. They take on the Golden State Warriors. Game 1 is on Thursday. All right, as the Raptors look to capture their first NBA title, and ooh, baby, it'd be sweet. It would be sweet. And that's for the Toronto Blue Jays, guys. They play Game 2 of the 3-game set against the Tampa Bay Rays there tomorrow night for the 7:07 first pitch down there at Tropicana Field. All right. And who's on the mound for the Blue Jays? It's supposed to be Clayton Richard's actually on the mound for the Blue Jays there tomorrow night. Looking to see from him. I mean, look, who did he face? I think he faced Boston. I think it was in his first outing. Yeah, and now he's facing Tampa. 2 pretty good teams. And Tampa's been playing great baseball. They're a fantastic ball club. So what can Clayton Richard do tomorrow for this team? We're gonna have to wait and see. All right. So thank you guys so much for listening and watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you guys then.